Winter Roses, Summer, by fairytalelovr. Chapter 24. Count Thy Blessings. Catelyn ran through the crowded and dirty streets of King's Landing. She had managed to ditch her guards near the Sept of Baelor. Now all she needed was to cross the length of the city to the Tower of the Hand. There she would... "Catelyn!" called a voice, making her run faster. "Cat, wait!" "Peter!" She exhaled in relief when she recognized him as he caught her arm. "How did you find me?"
"I've known you were coming for weeks, ever since your father spoke with the High Septon while he was in the city. A bunch of children blocked my way to your carriage, but I have people distracting your guards. Come with me in my litter. I'll take you to the Tower of the Hand."
"If the guards find us..." she started, but followed him anyway.
"They won't. Well, in a few moments they'll certainly notice you're gone, and it won't take too much genius to know where. But I've set people on the way to delay them. You should be able to reach Lord Stark, and then they wouldn't dare storm the room."
"My father can't do this. Can he?"
Littlefinger sighed. "If he has your custody... I mean, you hold no titles in your own right, Cat. If Ned Stark sends you to your father, then your father may do this. Legally, I mean. I only wish... If I could, Cat, I would take you without hesitation. There is no castle I can offer, but you would want for nothing, that I can promise."
"I can't be parted from my children, Peter. I just can't." Littlefinger nodded. He knew that would be her response. The high and mighty Catelyn Tully would never accept to live less than an honourable and great life. She fidgeted all the way to their destination, and was nearly crying when they arrived. He stayed outside, knowing his presence wouldn't be welcome, and would most likely hinder the conversation more than help. Isla walked into the room to find Daenerys standing by a table, looking over several samples of fabric, with Doreah, Eerie, and another woman. "Oh, Isla! Good, you're here!" Daenerys said excitedly. "I'd like you to meet Keira. She is the new castle seamstress. She brought all these things to see if you would like any for your wedding dress." "I can make my own wedding dress." "Of course you can," Daenerys said, having expected the reactions. "I just meant that she brought the fabrics and some new ideas that might be worth looking at. And she'd be able to help you however you can." "I was a third seamstress in King's Landing, Lady Isla," Keira said. "I made several fine dresses for the ladies of the court. I dare say you wouldn't like anything as flimsy as those empty-headed girls, but there's nothing wrong with a pretty dress." "I'm not a lady." "You will be soon enough," Daenerys quipped, and Isla blushed. "Let's just hear what she has to say. See the samples, and if you want to get married in your current dress, I won't complain."
"Much?"
Chuckling, the bride decided to humour her lady. Catelyn was led to the solar by Jory, who had promptly closed his face in an unreadable mask when he saw her.
"Lady Catelyn Tully,"
the captain of the guard announced as he opened the door, and she clenched her jaw. She and Ned were still married before the king and before the gods. She was still Catelyn Stark.
"What in the God's name?"
Ned started as she walked in, anger welling within him. "My father means to force me to become a scepter," she declared, not beating around the bush.
Jory widened his eyes and rushed out.
Ned frowned, sitting back.
"Why?"
"To dissolve our marriage."
"Why?"
he said again, even more confused. "Well, apparently you have convinced him you're never taking me back."
"I told you as much before you left Winterfell. But I would never force you to do this. If it is what you wish, then I won't stop you. But I would never force this on you."
"That I believe. Please, Ned. Please, for any affection you've ever bore me, don't allow him to do this." Ned sighed, standing up and staring out of the window for a few moments.
"I won't allow you to return to Winterfell," he said, and Catelyn felt her tears come unbidden. "What I can do for you, in the name of our children, is find a household for you to live in the north."
"For me to rot, you mean?" she sobbed. "Please, Ned. Robb knows where I have gone, and Arya and Sansa are here. The boy is in his fancy new castle. Bran and Rickon need me. I won't
have you in Winterfell, Catelyn. I have said it already. I don't trust you. Not anymore. I can set you up in a comfortable residence, and I will allow the children to visit you, always chaperoned.
Chaperoned? I am their mother!
And you prayed for my sons' and granddaughters' deaths. I can't trust you. Who is to say what nonsense you'll whisper in our children's ears? What empty airs will you blow into their heads? Did you know that Sansa was being laughed at in court because of her silly notions of songs and princes and knights? That Arya thought of herself as ugly and silly and dumb? That she would never be happy because she wasn't a proper southern lady, interested only in pretty dresses and praying?
Ned exclaimed, and she blushed.
This is what I can offer you, Catelyn.
Is this about the damned letter? She asked weakly. What difference would it have made to show you?
Me. By the time you showed it to me, I don't know what difference it would have made, honestly. But if you had given it to my father, I don't think he would have followed Brandon to King's Landing. I think my brother was probably already lost, out of his own folly. But my father would have looked at it differently. It might have saved him and Lyanna. And that is what I cannot forgive.
Catelyn nodded, her lips trembling as her tears fell. I will not go to a hut to freeze.
You offend me if you think I would be so unkind. I won't give you Winterfell, but I won't set you in a room to freeze.
You would part me from my children!
Our children. Arya and Sansa were always coming with me. And Bran too, before. It is not my fault Robb won't receive you.
I have no interest in your offer.
Then there is nothing I can do for you,
he said, his tone final. Catelyn looked at him, no more fresh tears falling. Then I suppose this is the last time we will speak. At least for a long while.
If you do this, it will be your own choice, Catelyn.
I will not go to a decrepit hut to live in shame. If I am condemned, then I will serve my sentence with my gods.
As you wish. I will see if the girls are in their rooms.
I can talk to them?
Yes. Jory and Paul will stand as chaperons.
Ned, she called as he reached the door. By tomorrow, you will be free of our marriage vows.
By your own wish, Catelyn.
Will you take another wife?
I have not betrayed you. But that is not an answer you can compel from me.
He left the study quickly, telling Jory his instructions and on to marching to the room he wanted. Ned! Ella gasped, startled. What in heavens? But he cut her off, crossing the room and pulling her against him and kissing her fiercely. Shocked as she was stunned for a beat before she melted into his arms, surrendering to the attack from his lips. When they ran out of breath, Ned broke their embrace.
Marry me?
Ella blinked. Ned, did you drink? Are you sick? You know we can't.
He smiled. Catelyn is joining the faith. She will become a scepter, and therefore our marriage will be dissolved. So... He went down on one knee. Will you, Ella, Lady Ashara of House Dane, marry me?
She laughed and sobbed at the same time. Yes! Yes, I will! You're not escaping me this time! He laughed and got back to his feet.
I love you,
he declared, bending down for another kiss. Life had kept them apart for nearly 18 years, so it was with near desperation that their hands ran along the other's body, pulling laces and tugging fabric. Ned slowed as he fingered her stretch marks, knowing well what they represented. It might not happen, she whispered, all fire calmed. Or, if it does, maybe it won't work out again.
Shh. We have each other. We will never be parted again. This is enough.
She smiled, and their lips sealed in another kiss, the fire kindling again. Sansa frowned as Catelyn explained why she was in King's Landing. But why? You're the Lady of Winterfell. I don't think your father and I will live together again, my dear. Why? I thought you were only visiting Grandfather. And then Grandfather came here to visit Father for fun? Arya asked. Why did Father get so mad at you, Mother? Mad? Why would Father be mad? They are married. They love each other. Don't be stupid, Sansa. Girls. Catelyn cut in. Your father sent me to... Jory cleared his throat, so she started again. Whatever happened between your father and I, it does not change how I feel about you. But this is what is best for me. But you are the Lady of Winterfell, Sansa insisted. You married into a great house. Why would you ever give such a position up? Your father is hand of the king and living in the capital while I'm at Riverrun. Soon enough, Robb will marry, and Winterfell will have another lady. This is what is best. What did you do, Mother? Arya demanded. When Catelyn hesitated, she got cross. When Father was sending you away, and you said it was Jon who had demanded your exile. But it was a mistake, Sansa whined. Wasn't it, Mother? Jon wouldn't be so unkind. And Sam told us he received you at the Midnight Fortress. He wouldn't have if you had done something against him or Dany. Besides, why would you ever be nasty to them? It's Jon and Dany. Catelyn was feeling anxious. Your father and I have agreed that you two are too young. She started and Jory cleared her throat again. This doesn't matter. It is what it is, and what is best for me is to serve the gods. Bertha Cassel nodded and Jory stepped away for a moment to speak for his wife. He returned, seeming annoyed. Lady Catelyn, I suppose you travelled to the capital with an escort? I did. We got lost from each other. I see, the guard said curtly. Well, they haven't found their way yet. Would you like a few of our men to escort you? It is time for luncheon. I don't... Where is Lord Stark? I would like a last meal with my daughters. Oh, Father won't mind. Will he, Jory? I'm sure he won't, Bertha said. Where's Ella? Arya asked. She said she was only getting something from her room. She'll join us soon, Bertha answered. Who is Ella? Catelyn asked. She is our governess. Sansa replied. Oh, Mother, I'm so glad you'll meet. She's so wonderful. I'm sure you'll be happy to see how well she cares for us. You don't have a scepter? Catelyn asked, and the other adults decided not to answer. That was for Lord Stark to deal with. Bertha and Jory led them to the small hall where the meal was being laid out. Catelyn moved to sit by Ned's left, as was her right as his wife, at least for the next few hours. And Littlefinger managed to snag himself an invitation when Jory told Catelyn he was still waiting for her. Of course. The first course was nearly done when Ned joined them. He seemed visibly lighter. He faltered when seeing Catelyn sitting at the table, but only went to his place at the head of the table. The girls mentioned they have a governess, Catelyn said when the awkward silence extended. Is she joining us? Ned did his best to keep from blushing. Ella had crossly kicked him out of the room, saying she would need to find herself a new dress since the ties of the one she had been wearing were ruined. He didn't regret it at all. I'm sure she will join us presently. There must have been a problem. You don't supervise your own household, Lord Stark? Littlefinger asked. I do. I just don't deal with household issues. I'm sure she'll tell me what needs to be done. It can't be easy to run a household with 2 daughters without a wife. I've been managing very well, Lord Baelish. Thank you for your concern. Ella! Sansa exclaimed as the woman walked in. Why are you so late? There was an issue that demanded my immediate attention, the Dornish replied. Lady Catelyn, it is a pleasure to make your acquaintance. Catelyn pursed her lips, but didn't reply, only nodded. Ella has been teaching me a new kind of stitching, Mother, Sansa said with a smile. I'll show you after luncheon. It's very elegant. I know all the styles of the South, Sansa, Catelyn said curtly. From the Summer Isles, my lady, Ella said. I don't claim to be the most skilled, but this one in particular was quite easy to learn. We have no need of foreigners. Westerosi ladies are clever enough. You should tell this to the Queen, Ella said with a smile. I'm sure the Master of Coin can confirm. Her Grace has just imported 5 new Mirish carpets for her own chambers, not to mention the Lysini silk she bought a few months ago. The entire court was gossiping for weeks.
I have to admit, the Treasury did bear that expense. Littlefinger agreed with a flourish. Her Grace has been particularly profligate ever since a little blue gem was discovered. Why is this the first time I'm hearing of it? Ned asked. I didn't think the King's Hand would be interested in the expenses of the Queen, Lord Stark. Cersei buys. I merely find the money to cover it. I have no care for what Cersei does, Ned said. I care about the Treasury. But this is not a conversation for right now.
The meal continued in a tense manner. Only the adults could feel. Sansa kept telling Catelyn what had happened since they had parted ways. Though there seemed to be a silent agreement between the sisters not to mention Syrio Forel or their daily rides.
Girls, say goodbye to your mother, Ned said once the last course was cleared. We can't know for sure when she'll be able to visit again.
But, Father, must she really go?
Sansa asked. She is going because she wants to, Ned answered. She made to argue. Sansa, enough. Your mother has made her choice. Say goodbye.
A squire came in and whispered a message to Ella. The Tully guards are downstairs, she announced. Serve them something. They must be hungry from the road, she told the squire. The High Septon says Lady Catelyn must be in the Sept by sundown. There's still enough hours, Ella said, dismissing the boy. Catelyn held the girls closer, unsure whether coming here had been a good idea, or just made things worse. A few days later, Ella walked into Ned's solar just before supper. Bertha said you were looking for me. What is it? He smiled, a carefree, easy smile she hadn't seen ever since Harrenhal, and passed her a scroll.
The High Septon just sent over.
Prattle, 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 she read. Oh, here it is. The faith of the Seven, with its authority, recognizes the annulment of the holy matrimony between Lord Eddard Stark, Lord of Winterfell, Lord Paramount of the North, Warden of the North, and Lord Hand to His Grace King Robert, of the House Baratheon, first of his name, King of the Andals, the First Men and the Rhynar, Lord of the Seven Kingdoms and Protector of the Realm, and the former Lady Catelyn of House Tully, who has decided to devote her life to her gods and joined the ranks of our faith as a sister sceptre, and therefore stripped herself of the burdens of family and ties. As such, the matrimony is dissolved and annulled from this day forward, though any issue proceeding thus far is legitimate and holds its rank in matters of succession. So, it's done?
Yes, I am a bachelor again, though Rob remains my heir.
That's fair, obviously. Does he know?
I sent a raven when Catelyn left. The response must be coming.
Did you tell him about us?
No, he sighed. Annulments are rare and complicated. They deserve to hear it in person. And I don't want them to think I am simply putting you in Catelyn's place.
Fair enough, she agreed, taking his hand and letting him pull her into an embrace, leaning on the door to the balcony. Let me know when you'd like me to start preparing a wedding dress.
He chuckled. How long do you need for that?
She laughed. For a dress fitting for the future Lady Stark? Weeks and weeks. Less if Sansa helps.
Why wouldn't she?
She was the most vocal about Catelyn going away. And I don't fault her.
Catelyn chose to go. I wouldn't have forced her. Even though I wanted to get out of the marriage. I still offered a household in the north for her.
I know that. And I also know the real reason you sent Catelyn back to Riverrun. Sansa and Arya don't. Catelyn is their mother, Ned.
And Jon is their brother. Lyanna is their niece.
Ned, they have no idea what Catelyn did. And I don't think they're old enough to be told. They understand that you sent her away for a good reason, and they know you wouldn't do it lightly. They also know that she chose the sept. But there is no bond fiercer than that between a mother and her child. He exhaled.
I'll find a way to talk to them. They like you.
They like me as their governess. There's no telling their reaction for being told we'll be getting married.
He huffed. First my brother, and now my children. I bowed to Brandon, deciding to wait for his wedding so he might be in a better mood. And that went how it did. I'm not letting you escape through my fingers again.
I just think... There was a knock on the door that spurred them into moving away, but Jory still came in time to see they'd been closer than proper.
The Lady Olenna requests an audience, my lord.
Good luck, Ella whispered, turning to leave and curtsying before they crossed paths in the corridor.
Lady Olenna,
Ned greeted when she walked into the solar.
To what do I owe this honour?
Oh, an honour, is it? I'm flattered. This is off to a good start.
I wasn't aware you were in the city, my lady.
Arrived a few days ago in my trek to your brother's wedding.
I would have thought you'd go by ship all the way.
Oh, I would. Except I wanted to talk to you before we arrive in the north. I have a proposal. Ella walked into her room and was startled to see Arya sitting cross-legged on her bed. Are you John's mother? Arya, what? I was sneaking around the servants' passages, and I got lost, and I ended up in my father's solar. I heard you two talking. He said he let you escape through his fingers once. I'm guessing that's when my Uncle Brandon died and he had to marry Mother. So you two already knew each other. Are you John's mother? No, Arya, I am not. If my father was in love with you and married to my mother, then how did he get John's mother pregnant? That is a question for when you are much older. You know who she is, don't you? Arya, that's enough. Your brother doesn't know. I'm not telling you anything. The girl narrowed her eyes. Brother? What? You called him my brother, not half-brother. Ella remained quiet. Arya was too smart sometimes. You don't blame my father. He held no oaths to me. But he loved you, and he betrayed that. That is not a discussion for now. What did my mother do to Jon and Daenerys? To Lyanna? I'm not telling you that. I heard you and father. I know that, and since you've brought it up, it is very rude to eavesdrop. You will be grounded for 3 days. No horseback riding. Ella! Wine, and I'll take Syrio too. Arya huffed, crossing her arms on her chest. Do I have to recite prayers kneeling on the corn in the corner? Gods, no! Don't tell me your mother! Well, no, not her, but Septa Mordain made me do it all the time. Said the pain and penitence would get me closer to the gods. Well, let's find another way, shall we? 3 days of no riding, and the penalty will grow for repeated offenders. Are we clear? Aye, Arya grumbled, but knew it was a fair punishment. She chuckled and uncrossed her arms, stood in front of the bed, and smiled. My mother chose to become a Septa, and I know my father won't send her away in the first place if she hadn't done something very bad. And it's not hard to imagine that it involved Jon and Dany. She made no attempt to hide how much she loathed Jon. So I'm glad you and father are getting married. You make him happy. Ella smiled, accepting the hug, and she chuckled as Arya skipped out of the room. Then she pursed her lips. She would need to be doubly vigilant about the passages again. She'd obviously been very lax. End of chapter. Hi guys, hope you enjoyed that one. Okay, I like this one. Catelyn's last-ditch attempt. Honestly, you can't help some people, can you? Little finger poking his nose in. Watch what you're doing, man. And, them being engaged. Yay. I don't normally approve. It hasn't been annulled yet, but they were separated for how long? They deserve some happiness. Arya being smart. Poor Sansa still needs to grow up a bit. But also, again, Ella being their mum in a more substantial and easy way. She is punishing Arya, but it's a punishment that Arya knows will be fine and is not happy about how Septa Mordain used to punish her. I like that. And I like Arya saying that Ella will make Ned happy. That makes me happy. Anyway, you guys know the drill. Like, comment and subscribe and hit that bell to get notified whenever I upload a new video. Have a good day, night, or whatever time zone you're in. Bye my guys, gals and non-binary pals. I'll see you in another video. Take care.